Thank you so much for joining me here at the live desk. I am Janae Hancock. Today, we are going beyond the headlines as we focus on a local film that will be hitting theaters, local theaters here today. I do want to turn things over to this man right here on your screen. This is Mark Sepulveda. He's actually playing Johnny Lazia in the Nelly Don film. Mark, I want to thank you so much for joining me. How's it going for you today? I know you have a lot in store on your schedule with this big premiere.
It's going terrific, Janae. Thank you for having us on here. We greatly appreciate it.
Of course. So I just mentioned who you will be playing in the Nelly Don film, but if you can just give us a little bit more information as to who that is and your exact role in the film.
Yes, I play Johnny Lazia, who was a crime boss here in Kansas City in the 1920s and 30s. And he was very unique in many ways. He had nightclubs, including the Cuban Gardens. In the movie, we get to go back in time to Dante's Inferno, which was a famous Kansas City nightclub here. And so there's lots of dancing and singing. And, you know, the story covers Nelly Don, who was a fashion pioneer, a trailblazer, and a wonderful, wonderful person. Did a lot for Kansas City.
Yeah, and I know we actually touched on her story, Nelly Don, during our show last night as well as this morning. We'll continue to cover her story, but just to give our viewers a little bit more information of who Nelly Don is, she was a huge American fashion designer here in Kansas City and one of the biggest dressmakers at that time, I believe in the world during that time in the 1900s, the early 1900s, but she really got her start right here in Kansas City, and she went through a lot. You can see that here on your screen. She was kidnapped. She adopted her biological son. There was just a lot going on. There's a lot in this story, and that film was actually directed, produced, and written by her great nephew Terrence O'Malley. So there's a lot to really take in with this movie. But I do want to ask you, Mark, you know, as you accepted this role, what would you say was the biggest shock there as you're learning the story of Nelly Don and your character? What was the biggest shock for you?
Well, the biggest shock is that, you know, of course, we all knew that Nelly Don was kidnapped. But what I didn't realize is that she was actually rescued by someone who I can't reveal, but I'll give you a hint. It's a very unsuspecting character. So, so you'll have to see it to, you know, the story and all of that. But it was really a shock to me of who actually helped with her rescue and how that whole thing worked out and how Senator Reed, you know, was able to facilitate the people who actually rescued her. And I think that will be very interesting to viewers. It's a piece of Kansas City history, you know.
And you know, you bring up Kansas City history. Now, Mark, are you from Kansas City?
No, I'm originally from Los Angeles area.
Okay. And
grew up in Southern California.
So did you move here because of the film? Awesome. Okay.
No, I actually moved here for grad school. I attended UMKC here. I studied opera at UMKC, and after graduation, I decided to stay because it's such a wonderful place and great people here and lots of opportunities. And I really love Kansas City. Proud to call it home.
I love that. And you know, go who? I'm sorry.
Go Chiefs.
Yes. And you know, I bring that up because I know Terrence O'Malley also pointed out the fact, an interesting fact, that everyone in this movie, they're from Kansas City or they've lived in Kansas City for quite some time now. So I was going to ask you, how was it being surrounded by so many people that are from the area?
It was wonderful. I mean, Kansas City has wonderful people. You all are so welcoming. And, you know, it's been a wonderful experience getting to speak with people whose relatives were a part of Kansas City history. You know, in my research of my role, I got to speak with some wonderful people who actually, one of them who actually had a great aunt who was rescued from a burning building by Lazia back in the 20s. So little things like that, connection to families and to history, is pretty remarkable. You know, Kansas City has a lot of stories and a lot of entrepreneurial spirit, which it still has to this day. And I think Nelly Don represents that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, you talk about stories and you talk about takeaways. What do you think the biggest message is that viewers will take away from this local film?
I think to go for your dreams and to work hard. It takes a lot of hard work. What Nelly Don did in her day was amazing as a woman who, created a whole line of clothing with pockets, things that are second nature to today. Many of them were invented by her. So I think it's truly inspiring that it inspires people to go for their dreams, and it also tells a musical story that you'll be leaving the theater with a song in your heart. I really truly believe that. I mean, there's so many wonderful, memorable melodies and songs in this musical. It's truly has something for everyone.
I love that. And it's been so fascinating to hear from people say, my grandfather worked at her factory, one of her factories, or my grandmother, my great grandmother. There's just so much Kansas City history throughout this film, and something that I didn't even know about when I first moved here. I'm not originally from here, but it's something for everyone. And I think the music really catches your eye as well. So where can people catch this film? I know it, like I said, it premieres today, but you all will be at some public areas. So where can people catch the stars as well as the film tonight?
Yes, this evening at 7:30 at the Glenwood Fine Arts Theater on Mission Road and 95th Street, we have the public premiere of Nelly Don, which you all are invited to. Hopefully there'll still be tickets when people show up, if they try and show up. You can also find tickets online on the Glenwood's website, as well as nellydon.com, which shows all the other places in the metro that are also showing Nelly Don. AMC, Union Station, Screenland Armor, and Glenwood.
And you mentioned AMC. I want to say this really fast. Terrence O'Malley also pointed out the fact that this film, this local film, independent film, I should say, is only 4 out of 8 independent films make it to AMC theaters. So this is a huge accomplishment, not only for O'Malley, the great nephew of Nelly Don, but also for all of you. So congratulations on the success of this movie. And to find direct links to find this local film, you can head to our website, kctv5.com, where we did a story yesterday. So thank you so much, Mark, for joining me here at the live desk. I do want to pull up that video one more time to give our viewers another look at the Nelly Don, the musical movie.